Good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is David Rupert with the BYU Management Society, the Young Professionals Career Engagement Program. And today I'm visiting with Chrispen Matsetlo. I'm sure I didn't say your name right, Chrispen, from
Yes,
Zimbabwe.
yeah.
From Zimbabwe. And Chrispen, it's a pleasure to meet with you and to get acquainted with you. And now what we'd like to do is to have you share some of your life experiences with this worldwide audience, and certainly with our brothers and sisters in Africa. And so if you don't mind, what I'll do is ask a series of questions that we would love to learn from you about, get your experience, and we'll go from there. But if you would start off with briefly just telling us about yourself, and let's start with there. Just, a little background about yourself.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for having me. I was born in Beitbridge, the other part of Zimbabwe, a very poor background. I think I was raised by my grandmother at the age of 3 months, and I lost my mom at the age of 13. And it was one of the poorest background that I had. And that really consisted a lot of hard work with all those poor conditions. And I was able to move in town and did my O-level. And I was able to finish my O-level. And after that, I went to advanced level. Then I went on mission, and when I came back, I remember thinking about providing for my future family. And that was really something that was on my mind, to say, from where I'm coming from, we're poor. And I was thinking to say, I need to break that cycle of poverty. And I remember we sat on a meeting with my uncle and auntie and their children, who were raising me after my mother passed away. And the concern was to help me to know what career I need to pursue. I remember everyone thought the only career that we can do in our country was teaching. And I say to them, I want to pursue business. And I remember my aunt said to me, you don't have much education. Your brothers, they ventured into business and they didn't succeed. There's no way you can be able to succeed. I remember saying, I feel I need to venture into business. And my other cousin brother said, you know what, let us support him in what he needs. And everyone said, okay, we'll allow you to do whatever you want. I didn't really have a clear business, what I needed, but I knew that I needed to venture into business. And I told myself that I was going to go out and look for the need. And whatever the market needs, I'll be able to provide that. That is where the journey began. I started selling some groceries. There was no food in 2008 in Zimbabwe. I'll go to Botswana and buy some groceries and come and sell. And I started to venture into electrical, like selling TVs and everything. And it was very tough. I remember then, because of the economic situation, things didn't really work well. Then the time came in 2010 when I needed to get married. I sold all of my gadgets to be able to pay lobola for my wife. And then I said, I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do after I'm married. I got married and I got this wonderful woman. And I told her that she knew I wanted to be in business. And that time I had no more capital. And there's a friend of mine who came to me and say to me, I want to teach you to repair phones, because he knew I was not working. And I stayed for about 4 months being married, and I was still battling on that thought on how I can be able to provide for my family. And then as he was teaching me to repair phones, people came asking for phones to buy and accessories and some other gadgets. I said to a friend of mine, we need to start selling some accessories and some gadgets. He said, no, I've tried that. It doesn't work. I said, I feel it will work. After 2 and 3 months, he said, I think I cannot pay you anymore. Let's separate. I was given a corner space by the landlord. He pursued with his repairs. And I was walking home thinking how I'm going to get the capital. Then I met a friend of mine from high school. She said, you know, you look so thin. What's the problem with you? I said, no, I'm married now and I'm trying to figure it out how I can be able to get out of poverty. She said, what are you doing? I said, I just got a corner space, but I don't have capital to be able to stock it. He said, I've got some stock worth $20. Can I give it to you? I was like, wow, you're an angel. And she was able to give me that stock and I started my business. And I started to see miracles happening as I knew what I wanted. And I started to develop some financial discipline that whatever I sell, I would remove the legal profit to pay for my living expenses and invest back what I was getting. And that path began. And I think I'll be able maybe to say a little bit more about that. But that's really, I think, a little bit background of how I started my business.
That is beautiful. And, you know, as you were speaking there, I was making notes to myself that you had this inner feeling that you followed, that you wanted to go into business. So you didn't do what the normal was. You know, you followed your inner feeling. I wrote down how important it was that you were prepared to, because you're getting into business, you were prepared for marriage, and how important that was now, and your wife being a part of your business. And I'm sure you'll talk more to that. How, because you had a friend or a mentor who taught you to repair cell phones, how important that was, and the need for capital, how that also came because of relationships, and how you learned financial discipline. So I'm impressed. These are lessons that take years to learn, and I'm sure it took time, but that was very powerful. So let me ask you the next question, which is, how have you balanced doing the business versus gaining expertise and education to help you in the business? Sometimes it's kind of known as the chicken and the egg, right? Sometimes people might spend a lot of time studying, but they never actually get into the, actually the doing side. You and I spoke about knowing versus doing, right? How do you balance getting the right expertise, call it education, call it knowledge, for you to be successful in your business? How do you balance that and actually going out and doing your business and growing your business and building your business? How do you do that?
Okay. I think for me, when I started my business, what really helped me to start with was having a vision. I always say my vision is to build a global enterprise. And I knew that despite my humble background, for me to be able to build a global enterprise, I had to learn from those that were big in the industry. And I realized that education was going to be very important. I knew that education was about learning what others they do and be able to model that. Mm-hmm. And so I started to enroll in, take advantage of a lot of business seminars in my community. I started to go online and started to learn a lot of business, listen to a lot of business entrepreneurs about their success story, the books that they were reading. I started to read those books, and I started to attend the engage in courses of entrepreneurship. But one key thing that I think was really key for me was for you to succeed, education is information. We always say education is power. It's power when you put into practice. So I started to learn one key thing, that those that succeed, they are more good in implementing, in executing. They get information and they use it to achieve their vision. And not only that, but they make sure that whatever information that they get, when they apply it, they measure to see if it is bringing them closer to their vision. So I think a lot of people, they even have asked me to say, but you seem not to be having advantage of much of formal education. I said, you know what? I have mastered entrepreneurship. It's all about getting information. We are living in a time whereby information, there's overload of information. But what's important is how do we use that information to get us to our vision? So I think for me, that's really the key to say, there's a lot of information, but we have to use it. We have to apply it and measure and see if it's bringing us closer to our dreams or our desires.
That is beautiful. And would you say that business is changing rapidly? And as well, let me rephrase this. What do you do to respond to changes in the world? Because it's interesting when I look at Africa. Africa is very rapidly learning from other countries, right? And embracing technology. There's a fintech revolution taking place there. And there's a lot of, rapid growth and development and raising of capital and other things. So do you see, how do you keep up with changes, I guess, because it's important, right? So what is your philosophy? How do you set your goals? I guess the question is, how do you set your goals? And how do you keep up with change so strategically you're moving forward and you're not going backward?
Okay, that's a very great question. Thank you so much for that. I think for me, when you have a vision that is very clear and you know why, the reason is very solid, why you want to achieve your vision, you now know that wishing will not get you there, but you will need to set goals. It's very key. You need to set goals and make action plans and be able to to execute those goals. I think I have a great benefit of running a business with my wife. Like we said, our company is Chris Rose Enterprises. I'm Chris and she's Rose. So we work together with my wife, and we have we have always had that growth mindset to say we need to grow. We started from one branch and now we have got 3 branches. We have got 7 employees. We have even a manager, a marketing manager and a sales manager. And so when you work with such kind of a team, you need to make sure that as directors, they are working towards something. So they cannot work towards anything without goals and without you having them to account for those goals that they have to execute. So I have really seen that for you to be able to survive in the business environment that we're in, you need to have a very innovative mind. I think we're living in an age whereby we are no longer inventing much, but you have to have an innovation mind to say, you look at something and reimagine it and say, how can I make it better? Our motto in our business is always aiming to make a difference. We always say we want to make a difference in everything that we do. We cannot make a difference if we're not innovative, if we don't adapt, if we don't see attentive to the trends. Like now, we are blessed that we are doing the technology business. And you know that in technology business, trends, they change. There are new phones that come. There's always new things. On the fashion, my wife, there's always new clothes. So you have to be well informed to be able to catch up with the times. So that, I think, really helps us a lot.
That is beautiful. And so as a follow-up to that, because as you were speaking there, I love the idea that you talked about growth mindsets, right? Very important. Growth mindset is being very positive and you're creating opportunity. And I heard a leadership aspect there, the importance of leadership with your employees and how you bring out the best in them and you have your vision of making a difference. I thought that was powerful. And then you talked about being able to adapt because things move quickly. Are there, like with your employees and with your team, and with others, I guess, are there certain sources of information that you encourage people to go to if they were, starting a business? You talked about entrepreneurial thing. Are there resources? Are there podcasts? Are there websites? Is it BYU Pathway and their, entrepreneurial program there? They have other sources. Talk a little bit about, because you said, wishing doesn't make it so, right? So what have you done to kind of have the theory, if you want to say that, so you can apply that to real life as you build your business? Tell us a little bit about what sources people can look to in Zimbabwe, in Africa, that will help them be skilled in order to start their business or grow their business.
Okay, that's a great question. Thank you so much. From my experience, when I started in the cell phone business, I was really looking closely in my area in Bulawayo for the giants in that business. I was moving around and looked to say, okay, if I want to venture into this business, who are the giants? And I was able to take my team and we'll visit their shops, we'll visit their premises, and we'll identify their strengths and their weaknesses. And I even happened to be so close to them to say, I'm in this business. I want to know, you are my role model. What is it that you are doing that makes you to be successful? And I realized that when you let someone know that they are your role model, they are now, they loosen up. They want to help you because they are seeing you as young and energetic and someone that wants to achieve. So they started to share the information. So that is to start with, to say, look in your location where you are, who is doing the business that you're doing, what is your passion, and what business are they doing, and be able to reach out and go and, ask questions. And people, they will give you information when you ask it in a polite way and in a professional way. That is number one. Number two, I think we are living in a time where, like I was saying, there is information overload. There are books. I read books every day. The books like Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill.
Yeah.
There is As a Man Thinketh, Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, Richest Man in Babylon, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Arcov. And on YouTube, you just have to Google about entrepreneurship, about anything. There is just a lot of information. But the key is you need to look for that information to say, I want to get something that I can do. That's the key. If you just get that information and then you don't apply it, you'll just be wasting your time. You just have to say, I want to get something that I can apply and review and see if it's helping me. I think it's about modeling. You just have to find a model and be able to do what they're doing, and then you get what they're getting.
Chrispen, that is beautiful. And I love the fact that you are well-read. You've read many of the classics, and I think that's very critical to do and create your list of classics that you share with other people. So the role model, I love that, the networking, and then also, taking action. Can you talk just a little bit more about networking? Like, when you went to that one business who was the giant in the industry there, some people, if they have a fixed mindset, they're going to feel threatened by you, right? So can you talk a little bit about, how you've had maybe successful experiences with networking, and have you had something where it didn't work out when you thought it should have?
Okay. I think I had an experience when the economy of Zimbabwe went down, and at that time our business was hit. And I remember finding ourselves without stock in our business. We had 3 shops, but we didn't have enough stock. And I remember hiring a guy to come and advise us. And he said to me, according to the records and everything, your business cannot get anywhere. He said to me, you just have maybe to find a partner to come in. I remember sitting with my team. I said to the guys, I think we need to go back to the drawing board, how we started our business. I gave an example of one of our supermarket. I said, if you look at this big supermarket in our area, do you know why they succeed? I told our team, I said, you know what? They don't have much products in their premise, but they bring different suppliers, they come and bring stock, and then they bring their merchandisers, and then they leverage on the fact that they've got clientele. I said, us as a company, we've got a good clientele. What we are going to do, we have got several suppliers that we have. And I said, I'm going to approach them, and I'll let them understand that, in business, we need to have an abundance mentality. We are interdependent. You can have these products, but you don't have the customers. I have the customers. Business was low for them. I helped them realize that if they allow us to come and get their products, we sell on commission, and then they get something. We are having a win-win situation. So we were able to go and get the products and come and sell us. When a customer comes, we'll say, wait, we'll go and get the product, we'll run and get the products, we'll come and we'll sell it, and those products they'll be able to sell. And my fellow business guys, they were so happy. And they were able to make sales, I was able to make sales. So and from that, we were able to restock our business. It was able to go beyond what it was even before. And I really saw that working to say, when you network, it's about the approach and helping your fellow partners to realize that it's a win-win situation. When you network with the win-win situation in mind, people, they will be able to see that, okay, if it benefits all of us, why don't we share ideas? So I think it's about that mindset and helping them realize that when you have a win-win situation, you can be able to work together. And we are interdependent. So that's, I think, what one success story that I think really helped us.
Chrispen, that's beautiful. And I appreciate you sharing the fact that running your own business is just not always straight up, and it's always fun, and it's always easy, right?
Yes.
Do you want to talk about that? Do you want to talk about challenges that you've dealt with and how you overcame those?
Okay. Yeah, I think that's one thing that a lot of people, when they see you running your business, they think, wow, he's just having it, but they don't understand the process. I think anything that you want that is worthwhile, there is some obstacles. You have to overcome some challenges. Anyone who is in Zimbabwe, they will tell you that the economy of Zimbabwe is not stable. The currency changes, and there's just a lot of things that you wake up in the morning, you have made your sales, and in the next day, you realize that your money is valueless, and for you to be able to get the money to restock. So, there are challenges, and some failures, they take place. But one of the greatest thing that I've learned was in all the failures that we have gone through in our business, they brought quite a lot of wisdom and experience. And I think you have to understand that, they say failure is in your mindset. If you believe that you have failed, you are right. But if you believe that we don't fail, we learn. So I think Thomas Edison is a very good example that I have learned from, to say, when he was inventing the bulb, others, they say he failed about 9,000 times, but he said, I found 9,000 ways that did not work. So I think it's about learning from your failures that can help you to move forward. I have realized that from all the failures that I have gone through, they have left me more wiser, and they have helped me to be able to learn to solve problems and make decisions. And I think for me, the greatest thing in that is you just have to bring your team together. If you work as a team, you counsel together, you share ideas, whatever problem you face, no matter how big, the solution can be able to come. I have experienced that.
That is really beautiful. And I love how well read you are, because I've read that quote about Thomas Edison before. And as you're right, he learned 999 ways not to make a light bulb, right? But very positive. So I think that's beautiful. Okay, I guess as we finish this conversation today, if there was one piece of advice that you would want to share with young professionals who are thinking about starting their business today, what would that be?
Okay, I think the reason why we don't succeed, especially the young ones, is because we let our fears overpower our passions. you need to have a passion. You need to have a clear vision of what you want. And you need to know that you don't wish away to your vision, but you need to get on and act persistently and measure and model, find people that are successful and be able to do those things that they are doing. The power is within you. God has given us power within us to say whatever we desire. No one can be able to tell us that we can succeed or not. I tell myself. So if you believe in what is inside, to say you can do it, you can do it. There are so many ways, there are so many approaches, there are so many means to be able to help you to get your dream. But you're on the driver's seat. You are in control. So if you believe that and get on and work and be persistent, put the work, sacrifice, then you can be able to achieve. And as long as you don't give up, don't give up. That's the key I can say. Don't give up.
Chrispen,
there's hope. There's light at the end of the tunnel.
I'm sorry, you're fabulous. I love everything you're saying. There's light at the end of the tunnel. It seemed like you probably have read Angela Duckworth in Grit, because she talks about passion and persistence, right? And I can just see that in you. I love what you're doing. The fact that you're networking and that, you know, your wife is an important part of your business as you work together, and your team that you have, and that, you know, you're in difficult circumstances. I read where, I don't know, a year or two ago, Zimbabwe had inflation that was like 600%. I mean, extremely high inflation, right? And the fact that, so, I mean, anything else on that? Anything else on how you manage challenges?
I think, you know, challenges, you manage them through your attitude. Mm-hmm. They say what doesn't kill you will make you stronger. So if you have got a positive attitude, and I think for me, I think my faith in God, I always look at his creation to say, I remember the other time I shared with one of my colleagues, and he said, you know, it seems in your business, you're so creative. Where did you learn this? I said, I learned it from my father. I was like, oh, your father, you know, he's a business person, he's creative. I said, my father in heaven, you know, I'm here to become like him. So there is nothing. So my faith is the foundation. And I believe in increasing in learning. I always say, you know, we are living in a time where there is no limit. So education, if you really, every day I spend 30 minutes or more to start something. You need to feed your mind. You need to learn. You know, we are in a changing world. If you don't change, then you won't be able to cope. So Zimbabwean situation has really taught me that you have to be resilient. You don't have to be stubborn, but you have to be resilient. You don't fight, you have to fight the conditions, but fight in the conditions. If you fight in the conditions, you will emerge victorious, and you'll be much more better than you were when you got in. So that attitude, I think for me, is really key.
Chrispen, well said, right? Everything you're saying, it's like, I've read about these things and you're doing it, right? You're creating, you're making the impossible possible. So on behalf of the BYU Management Society and the Young Professionals Career Engagement Program, we thank you for the time that you've taken to share this today, because it shows you have a wonderful growth mindset. We're grateful for your leadership, and we wish you, your family, your associates, and your country the very best. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It was a privilege. It was an honor. I really appreciate it.